Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jared. Before I begin, just want to show briefly this shirt that I'm wearing. It's not the nicest looking customized shirt, of course. My mom actually printed a photo of our dog, our family dog named Oscar, who sadly passed away 3 years ago. I still miss him very much. I'm wearing this shirt. I put on this shirt today to record this video because I feel it's quite apt and appropriate because this movie that we're gonna be talking about in this video on this channel today, I'm Still Here, that brilliant Brazilian film in 2024. There's also a dog in the story in the movie and who also died tragically in the middle of the movie. So this is a spoiler review video, and yeah, I miss Oscar very much. Anyway, let's move on. This is my first time doing a review video for a film whose award season has already passed, including the Oscars. There are many factors why this is the situation, but I'm not gonna dive into those factors and reasons in this video. One of them is global distribution, global film distribution, which is topic for another day. I'm very passionate about. Okay, first things first, congratulations Brazil on your first Oscar win, on that deserved Best International Feature Oscar. It felt so right to see director Walter Salles on stage accepting an Oscar in front of so many people and in front of hundreds of millions of viewers around the world. Stay proud, Brazil. I'm with you. So I've finally seen this film after a painfully long wait. It's really long. As far back as October or November last year, sometime after the Venice and Toronto International Film Festivals, I already came across this film on Twitter and other social media platforms. This film is raved, okay? And of course, everyone is talking about that phenomenal lead performance by Fernanda Torres, who we're going to talk about later in this video. And then there's the Golden Globe nomination for Torres on top of the Best Foreign Language Motion Picture Golden Globe nomination. And also, really, the film hasn't missed any foreign language or international feature award nominations at all of the major precursors bodies, and that's amazing. And then boom, Fernanda Torres shocked everyone by winning the Best Motion Picture Drama Actress Golden Globe Award. Wow. And right, the film's buzz just multiplied, skyrocketed, as it should. What a ride, people. Then came the Oscar nominations. So the first, there was the international feature category. As expected, it was nominated, deserved, outstanding, wonderful. Then came Best Actress, and all of us were holding our breaths, and the names were announced in alphabetical order of their last names. So when I heard Demi Moore for The Substance and she was the fourth nominee, I thought to myself, this is it. Fernanda Torres had it in the bag. And sure enough, the last nominee to be announced, Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here, in Best Actress. Wow. And then last but not least, Best Picture. Let me tell you, when Bowen Yang announced I'm Still Here, nominees to be determined, I screamed.
I'm still here, nominee.
Guys, paperwork, let's go. Come on.
I mean, no doubt the film had a near zero chance of winning Best Picture, but that nomination itself was such an inspired pick. Absolutely stunning. Alright, moving on to the actual review. I'ma just dive right into the review itself. I don't think there's a need for me to share a plot summary of the movie. Anybody who's consciously watching this video right now, who is aware of the movie, I do think all of you have seen it already, right? And in fact, I am probably one of the last human beings to be reviewing this movie fresh on YouTube. So, let's talk about what worked in this movie. Walter Salles' directing. So this film felt very full in every sense of the word. Of course, it wasn't gonna tell the entire life story of Eunice Paiva, our main character, who's brilliantly portrayed by Fernanda Torres, who we're gonna be talking about later shortly in this video. But from the first frame to the last, by the end of it, I felt this sense of completion. No doubt, the story and the journey of this film was nothing short of harrowing, and I felt horrible for the Paiva family, but I salute Walter Salles for telling their story so wholeheartedly. Of course, directing in its technical sense also refers to the artist, the director, who is the coordinator, the person who assembles and oversees every aspect of filmmaking from pre to post-production. So in that regard, Walter Salles excelled in his job for this movie. Every department whose work we could see and hear clearly in this movie all gave their very best. The set, the production design, that house, oh my goodness, that house, the cinematography, and the acting, of course, which we're going to be discussing very soon, all were amazing, wonderful. And the music, which includes, of course, both the song choices for the film as well as the original score composed for the movie. So interestingly, I first heard the score during the Golden Globes ceremony when Fernanda Torres won her award, as she was walking towards and getting onto that stage to accept the award. I was mesmerized and captivated by that piano piece. It's very simple, but I was very moved by it. And this is a question for you, Sony Pictures Classics. When will you release the original movie soundtrack for this movie? Please, hurry up. And saving the best for last, the acting. Now, even before discussing the goddess and mother herself, that's Fernanda Torres, I want to talk about Selton Mello and the one and only Fernanda Montenegro. So both Mello and Montenegro were in, I would say, a quarter or less than a quarter of the film's runtime. He really exhumed charm through the screen. His screen presence as the head of the family was strongly felt. And even though he's at the core of this film's misery and suffering and tragedy, whenever he's on screen, he made us laugh in a very loving and fatherly way. So much so that I even dare say, for many of us watching in the audience, by which point, before he was taken away of course, we probably felt like we were one of his children. We probably felt like he's our father. That's how good he was. And the scene came where he was taken away. I am confident that most of us felt the same anxiety and fear and uncertainty together with the rest of the characters, the rest of the cast. Now on to Fernanda Montenegro. This is a spoiler. We have already established this video as a spoiler review. Fernanda Montenegro, so she does not say a word in her scene. She was only in the last scene, the last timeline, but it's all in her eyes. It's all in the eyes. It's all in the facial expressions. Now, I won't say too much, but what she managed to achieve with just her facial expression, her face acting, her eyes acting, she almost made me cry, and I'm sure she made many people cry throughout the world, across the world, people who watched this film. What an acting legend through and through. And last but not least, Fernanda Torres. I really don't know what else to say that hasn't already been said by other reviewers, other YouTubers, other bloggers across the internet. She is the movie. Fernanda Torres is I'm Still Here. She is Eunice Paiva. Now, except for one very brief moment in the film, in the rest of the movie, she does not scream, she does not shout, she does not cry. It's like everything was contained inside of her. That's a masterclass in the power of restraint. I have no words. But I do like to quote myself in a tweet that I posted recently. So I said, in a crowded field of showy turns, showy performances, Torres stood out with restraint. It's what she doesn't show that's truly incredible. Our hearts ache for her character, when we see her just holding on, just hanging on. This is an Oscar nomination entirely deserved, and would have most certainly been an amazing winner in an alternate universe. Now, what could have worked better? I do think the second act leading up to right before the first time jump, which marks the start of the third act, so basically the middle hour, slightly more than an hour, is very long. But I will tell you, I don't really know what to cut. So this movie is 2 hours and 17 minutes, and I did feel the length, but I was also thoroughly engaged as well. So yes, this could be a problem for some people, but it's hardly a serious issue. Another point I can think of is probably in terms of the script or adaptation. I can't understand Portuguese, so I can't read the book by Marcelo Rubens Paiva, Eunice's son. So I can't tell you how good the adaptation is, but I am of the view that as moving and as touching as Fernanda Montenegro's performance is in that last scene itself, that last timeline itself, is optional, and I think the film can do without, but it's still a very beautiful movie, including it. I would prefer the film is closer to 2 hours or slightly below 2 hours, but then again, this is really just nitpicking rather than stating an actual flaw. The film is that good, okay? Now I really want to talk about the impact of this film. So this film sheds light on the military dictatorship era in Brazil. And I remember what Fernanda Torres said in an interview, I believe. She said that this era in Brazil's history is part of the larger global Cold War environment, which was still raging on in the early 70s with of course the biggest conflict being the Vietnam War in Southeast Asia. So not many people know about this era in Brazil's history, neither do I. But I strongly believe that history is always crucial as part of our collective learning and healing journey as a human race. The world that we live in today remains entrenched in wars and conflicts, and even in countries without any armed conflict, state oppression exists, which is what part of this film is about. So as citizens of the world, with the advanced technology of today, which makes globalization much easier, I do think part of our duty is to educate ourselves as best as we could and to improve our ability to empathize with others. We, depending on where we are, may be at peace, but many places in the world are not. And the very least we could do is to lend a pair of ears and eyes so that those voices do not become silenced, so that their voices will always be heard, the oppressed will always be seen, and meanwhile we, the better off ones, do our very best to help alleviate the world of its troubles and pains. This is my biggest takeaway from this brilliant and important Brazilian film, I'm Still Here. Now let's transition to a less serious and more light-hearted note, discussing its awards run. Of course, its Oscar win, which I mentioned earlier in this video, that Best International Feature Oscar, totally deserved. But I certainly hope the film would have picked up more accolades throughout the season, especially for both Walter Salles and Fernanda Torres. Now, with Mikey Madison winning the Oscar for Anora, it's quite safe to say that Torres was number 3, behind Demi Moore for The Substance. But I like to think that Demi Moore was not far behind Mikey Madison, and Fernanda Torres was not that much beneath Demi Moore either. I like to think that the three of them were very close. I like to think that. But I will say that this was the most exciting Best Actress season in a long, long time. I'm very happy and very proud to be experiencing this season in real time. The ups and downs, the surprises, the shocks, the disappointment, every bit of it, I would not trade it for anything else. And I just want to end off by saying that I'm so happy Fernanda Torres won the Golden Globe Award. So this film is out on digital now in the US and select regions, I believe. And if you're watching this in Singapore, or if you're planning to come Singapore this week, there is one more screening on the 30th of March, Sunday, at the projector. But really, wherever you are, if this film is showing in a local cinema, if this film is out on digital where you are, please watch this film. Please check it out if you haven't. If you want to rewatch it, please go ahead. Please support this movie. It is a sweeping drama, emotionally powerful, and above all, it is an important movie about survival, cherishing our loved ones, and a timeless reminder that peace and freedom are never to be taken for granted. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Follow my socials. Subscribe to my Substack. Follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd, I guess. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I want to end off this video by saying Tengo saudade de tudo. Jared.